welcome students to my channel once again. In this video, I will give you the answer of this question. So look at the question. Examine the impact of the partition of Bengal. Okay, 1905 on the growth of the Indian national movement. Examine the impact of the partition of Bengal on the growth of the Indian national movement. Clear? Now if you want, you can write down the answer. Okay. The partition of Bengal in 1905, enacted by Lord Curzon, had profound consequences for the Indian national movement. Full stop. Ostensibly, the partition aimed at administrative convenience by dividing the large Bengal province into East Bengal and Assam in bracket with a Muslim majority and West Bengal in bracket with a Hindu majority. Okay, full stop. However, the decision was widely viewed as an attempt to weaken nationalist sentiments by creating religious divisions. Okay, now immediate impact. Okay, the first is widespread protests. Okay, the partition triggered widespread unrest and protests, especially among the Hindu middle class Bengali population. Full stop. Leaders like Surendranath Banerjee and Ananda Mohan Bose spearheaded the anti-partition movement, which soon spread across the country. Full stop. Public meetings, petitions, and resolutions marked the beginning of a mass political movement that would later become central to the Indian struggle for independence. Number 2 is Swadeshi movement. The most significant response to the partition was the launch of the Swadeshi movement, which encouraged Indians to boycott British goods and promote the use of Indian-made products. This movement marked a shift from moderate political methods like petitions and speeches to more assertive measures, including economic nationalism and self-reliance. The Swadeshi movement spread beyond Bengal, invigorating nationalist activities in all other parts of India as well. Number 3, rise of extremism. The partition also intensified the divide between the moderates and extremists within the Indian National Congress. While moderates believed in negotiation and gradual reforms, extremists like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal, and Lala Lajpat Rai advocated for direct action and self-rule. The partition acted as a rallying point for the extremists who gained considerable support among the masses. Number 4, revival of indigenous industries. The Swadeshi movement led to the revival of indigenous industries, particularly in textiles, handicrafts, and small-scale industries. It also fostered the growth of national education with the establishment of national schools and colleges as a protest against the British education system. Number 5 is religious polarization. The partition succeeded in creating a religious divide as intended by the British. The Muslims of East Bengal, initially supportive of the partition due to promises of development, later formed the Muslim League in 1906. This marked the beginning This marked the beginning of communal politics in India, which would have long-lasting consequences for the Indian freedom struggle and ultimately led to the partition of India in 1947. Then the long-term impact. First one is national unity. Though the partition aimed to divide, it paradoxically unified large sections of Indian society against British rule. The sense of betrayal from the partition energized nationalist leaders and transformed the Congress into a mass movement that went beyond the elite class. Number 2, annulment of the partition. Okay, annulment of the partition 1911. So due to the sustained opposition, the British government eventually annulled the partition in 1911. However, by this time the movement had already gained momentum and was no longer confined to Bengal or the partition issue. It had become part of the larger freedom struggle, influencing the course of Indian nationalism in the decades to come. Now, the partition of Bengal was a significant turning point in the Indian national movement. It galvanized popular resistance against British rule, led to the rise of the Swadeshi and boycott movements, and contributed to the growth of both nationalism and communalism in India. Although the partition was reversed, its legacy shaped the trajectory of the Indian struggle for independence and foreshadowed the later partition of India in 1947. Okay, so this is the complete answer. Okay, thank you.